This conversation might be for my peers, my middle-aged peers. But again, if you're younger, it doesn't mean that it won't apply. Um, but I was just got to thinking about something, and I was curious to know if other people felt the same way. So we live in this world, right? Especially with social media, where everybody is talking about all the great things they do. We're constantly comparing ourselves to other people. This person, was recognized for this award and some lifetime achievement award. They do a lot of these like 40 under 40. Um, People have these grandiose titles at work, and they post them on LinkedIn. And, social media is all about like a lot of, I don't want to call it bragging, but really just highlighting our best moments, right? People are not posting about the down times or the mundane things that we go through in life, which is fine. And that makes sense. Like nobody wants to watch that, right? Which is why when we watch reality TV, which I'm a fan of, it's always, some scandalous, dramatic plot because nobody wants to watch folks just get up and go to Publix and do their laundry and respond to emails all day. That's not interesting. And that's probably what most of our lives look like. So why would we want to tune into TV to see that? So I get that. Um, but it got me to thinking about lifetime accomplishments and your legacy. What's going to be your mark, right? When you're no longer gone, or just, when you get older. And I wonder how many people have that. And is it okay if you don't? I'll give you an example. About 2 years ago, one of my coworkers, accomplished man, um, 30 something years of experience, part of an executive team, MBA, PhD, highly respected, all of that stuff, right? So we were sitting at a award ceremony where one of our other coworkers was getting a lifetime achievement award for her area of work. It's a very narrowly focused area of work. So it's one of those things where if you are steeped in that work, it makes sense to you and you can appreciate it. If you're not, you're kind of like, this is really not interesting to me, that kind of thing. And so as we're sitting there listening to our coworker get her award and talk about, all the work she's done in this space, he said that he had misgivings about his life in that he felt like he was more of a generalist and he had knowledge. He had significant knowledge. I wouldn't even say he had sufficient knowledge about a lot of different topics, but he was not an expert at anything. So we know that phrase, jack of all trades and expert at none. That was what he felt his life looked like. And he sounded regretful that was his story at, I don't know, he was probably in his late 50s at the time. And at the time I didn't know him that well, so I didn't know how to respond to that, and I just kind of listened. So you fast forward to maybe 2 years, and he actually passed away. From cancer, and it was like really quick. Right? So he found out he had cancer, like say, I don't know, February, and he was probably gone within the year. And when he passed, there was something of a memorial service at work, and there were so many great stories about him. There were people from all different departments, from different in different roles and on different rungs of the hierarchical ladder, so to speak. So I mean, like I said, he was an executive, and and then you have different levels of folks in the organization, but at all levels, fellow executives, and then you had folks who were project coordinators who were, again, and it's not a matter of like what role is better or not, but I'm just trying to give you a landscape of the organization and all the different tiers. So there were so many people who had positive stories about him, right? And it was eye-opening because I think most of us thought we had a special relationship with him. And we thought that, he and I had some really good conversations, at the water cooler, in the office, while we were traveling for work. And you felt like you had a special place in his life. Come to find out, a lot of people had that experience with him. And it was a good thing, right? It didn't take away from our special connection, because I do believe it was special, just special in different ways. Like, we might have talked about our love for, say, reality TV shows, and we would go into detail about, did you see, Survivor last week, and what do you think about X, Y, and Z? Meanwhile, he was having conversations about recipes with somebody else, and he was talking about vacation spots with somebody. Like, he had all these different areas that he had made connections with people, and those were valuable, meaningful connections, to the point that when he passed, there were a lot of sad people in the room who all felt like they knew him, and they felt that he knew them. And so I tell this story because it's interesting to me how, when he was alive, he was concerned that he didn't have a legacy, or that he didn't have an area of expertise. However, when he passed, he did have a legacy. And he, I don't, hopefully he knows that. Hopefully he's watching, or he had been watching, whatever you believe spiritually. But his value on this planet was his relationships and his connections with people. And that left a lasting impact that is more significant in my eyes than any award you can get, any, medal or trophy, or all of that stuff that people collect, and they think that that speaks to who they are and their value in this world, when truly the stuff that matters is those relationships and the impacts that you've had on people's lives. And it was eye-opening for me, and it really helped me to kind of pivot the way I was thinking, as opposed to this like rat race where you're trying to collect accomplishments and things and stuff that you think represents your value in this world, and how high you have climbed and what you've accomplished. And it's not in the cars and the homes and the great vacations and all. It's not that stuff, because again, people have said this for years, you can't take any of it with you. None of that stuff matters. It makes you look good in the meantime. It might even make you feel good in the meantime. But that's not the stuff that on people's deathbeds that they really care about, or I don't think they should be caring about. So I was just putting this out there because it was just a very introspective moment for me, just as I think about my, where I am in my life, and being, I guess, quote unquote, middle-aged, and like, what have I accomplished, and how much time do I have left, and what do I still need to do, and feeling this pressure to up the ante, right? Or to make some significant changes. And I don't know that I need to, right? I don't know. I think it's just a mindset shift where you start to realize that the value you have on this earth, in the short time that we're here, has nothing to do with those things. And they feel good. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be recognized for your work and your, all of that stuff. But that's fleeting, right? It comes and it goes, and very few people will remember it. But the stuff that folks will remember is how you made them feel while you were here. And those are the memories that are going to keep them warm at night, and it's going to influence them to maybe be a better person, and to kind of carry on that work in their own respective ways with their loved ones. And so the message here, and I guess this is a message to myself, and I'm sharing this, as just as, like I said, this was just like a light bulb moment, if you will, that you don't have to do all those things, and you should not beat yourself up for feeling like you haven't done enough, because most of us have and are, and we're not supposed to. I don't know that we're here to do those things, and everybody can't, right? Everybody can't be the CEO of something, or can't, own the multi-million-dollar house, or be an elected official. Or we all can't have that story, right? And that's okay. So what we do need to hone in on is the stories that we can have, and the stories that we do have, and the things that matter to the people around us. So that was just a moment for me. And so I'm sharing, and I'm also just curious to know what other people think about, where they are in their life, and what they feel like they still want to accomplish, and if it is something that keeps them up at night, and if so, why? And, do you agree? Do you not agree? And like, what other thoughts do people have about this? Because I know I'm not the only one who's actually thinking about it. So that was it. I haven't posted in a while, and usually my content is about, videos and movie reviews and other stuff like that. But today, that's just kind of what spoke to my heart, and I just wanted to share. So let me know what you think.